record this session as well this morning. And if anybody wishes me to distribute that recording for you, I can do that after the session also as well. So welcome then to Mental Toughness, a coping strategy in uncertain times. And boy, is it uncertain times. I think we've never seen anything quite like it ever in the, well, probably, I won't say necessarily in the world. I think we've been through tough times in the past. However, I think at the moment, certainly for our generation, the younger ones, dare I say that, younger-ish amongst us, we've probably never seen anything like this before, so it's quite unprecedented what's going on at the moment. But I think this is our opportunity to pull together and develop our mental toughness as well, which is exactly what we're going to be talking about in this particular session this morning. That's my business, 123 People Development. I've written this course, but I work in partnership with AQR International, which the psychometrics, shall we say, are joined to. So I'll sort and arrange for you guys to get all of your mental toughness reports, your MTQ plus reports. If you haven't already done that, I will make sure that those links are sent out to you and you can then complete the report for joining this session today, which is fantastic of AQR International to actually offer that, which was very, very generous of them as well. I'll be sharing lots of things like little quotes, etc. And I thought this was quite pertinent. Hope is the only thing stronger than fear. And I think sometimes, certainly at this moment in time, I think that's really quite a pertinent quote as well. Like I've said, I will distribute that recording for you after the session. So please, if you haven't received it, which you should do, then just please just let me know as well. So the timing of the session, it'll be around about 90 minutes. I'll try and keep it relatively pacey, but I'm going to be doing all sorts of different things with you. We've got lots of interaction, like I've said this morning. So please make sure that you get involved. So we'll be around about 90 minutes or so. This is me. My name is Sam Sloan. I know I sound like a private investigator. I get that told to me all the time. I retail manager background for 20 odd years. L&D though for about the last 13 years. But I've been working in this online space, which if I'm perfectly honest, I'm rather glad I have, because I am incredibly busy at the moment. I've been supporting businesses now over this last 2 to 3 weeks, getting their L&D functions online so they can continue on with their training schedule, shall we say. I live in Manchester, England, and I'm a big aviation geek. And Martin will be probably smiling there, as he well knows. And probably Elise as well, for those that know me. So I would like you guys to introduce yourselves, and the way I would like you to do this, because I want to keep it pretty pacey, you will have a toolbar on your screen. If you kind of wiggle your mouse a little bit, you'll see at the very bottom of your screen a chat panel and participants. The participants is everybody that's on the call this morning, and the chat, I would like you to introduce yourself. We know where you're from, but I'd like to know what your job role is. What is it that you do? Why are you interested in this course this morning? And I'd like you to pop that into chat for me. So open that little panel, wiggle your mouse about, and right at the very bottom of your screen, you'll see a little toolbar, and on one of the tools will say chat. Pop into chat, make sure it's going to everyone, and then everybody will see it. I can see the vast majority of you are looking down, so I can tell that you're typing. Oh, I think we have another person wanting to come in as well. Let me just admit, it looks like Pep. Hi, Pep. There we go. Hopefully Pep has just come into the session. Let me just go to Pep and unmute. Good morning, Pep.
Good morning. I'm sorry I'm late.
It's all right. It's no problem at all. How are you?
Fine. Thank you. Just learning how to do all of this with 3 children at home.
Oh, goodness me. That's challenging. Most definitely challenging.
I don't think you've got my video, have you?
No, not at the moment. If you are you familiar with Zoom?
I am, but I'm just...
Perfect. There we go. Good morning.
There
Look at that. 3 children. How old are your children, Pep?
16, 15 and 10. So
oh, right. Okay. So not too bad.
I need some mental toughness tips.
My kids are grown up now. My kids are 28 and 25 and have fledged. Never say that out loud. But yes, I remember it well. Absolutely. Pep, all we're doing, we're just introducing ourselves, and we're doing that via chat. So in that little
Okay.
chat window there, just your job role and why are you on the call today? What is it that's brought you here today? And I know you've got 3 children at home, which in itself is the reason.
Okay, I'll add some stuff in.
No problem. That's lovely. Thank you, Pep, and lovely to have you with us this morning as well.
Okay.
Okay, so let's have a look at chat then. So we have, got lots and lots in here. This is fantastic. So we have Martin saying there, I'm a headhunter and a transformational coach. Yes, you are. I am learning about MTQ and ILM at the moment and how to use them as coaching and selection tools. Yeah, brilliant. Me and Martin have had many a discussion about this, and certainly how to use mental toughness within that coaching perspective as well, which I think is brilliant. Thank you, Martin. Elise is saying that I'm a trainer and computer systems for 911 Emergency Communications Centres. Yes, you are. And I met our wonderful, beautiful Elise back in January in Florida, and we did some training together, and it was fabulous. It really was. And she educated me on what pie was in America. Not what I thought it was. I was expecting steak and kidney, cheese and onion, somewhere along those lines. No, it was pizza. My face was a picture, but that was another story. Thank you, Elise. Mina's saying that L&D partner and international coach, looking for support to support people with resources and coaching during a difficult time, helping people stay grounded and deal with anxiety. Mina, I absolutely concur with you. The amount of conversations I've had with people just recently around this, not only to support others, but also for ourselves as well, it is quite eye-opening, I think probably would the word I would use. But yes, thank you very much for that, Mina. Azita's saying there, I'm a psychotherapist and would love to help my client further. Yeah, brilliant stuff. Again, the more knowledge you have and the more information, I suppose, that you can gather around this type of stuff, it only helps you, and it helps you support others as well, which is superb. Thank you. Carol's saying there, morning everyone. I'm an e-learning business manager at Association for Project Management, and I'm joining the session to gather thoughts and ideas as I work and support with our members. Superb again. I'm noticing lots of support, how we can support others as well, which is fantastic. I really do think this type of thing sometimes brings out the best in people. I really do. Matt is saying executive coach supporting entrepreneurs and executives undertaking business transformation. Also coach for mental toughness development. Oh, perfect. And I collaborate with Doug and AQR team too. Brilliant. So you will know our lovely Doug. I'm going to pop a little link into chat in a little while. Strangely enough, Doug recorded, I'm not going to show it in session, I'll let you guys watch it afterwards, but he recorded sort of mental toughness in tough times back in February, before all of this had kind of really hit, shall we say, properly. And when you kind of listen to him speak, it's like, it's a little bit eerie almost. It's like, wow, goodness me, how does that fit right now? So brilliant. Thank you, Matt. And thank you for sharing your thoughts there as well. Pep is saying there, morning, I have a tech startup using positive psychology for children. Oh, wow. And have an MSc map. However, didn't get enough time to go into mental toughness during the course. It was focusing on education. However, that's why I'm joining the call. Yeah, brilliant. You guys, like I've said anyway, I know a couple of you have very probably already done the MTQ Plus reports, etc., but you will have the opportunity to complete that, and I will send your details of who joined the call this afternoon, wherever you are in the world, to be able to do that as well. If you haven't even done one for a while, why not do it again? See what's going on for you right now, because it will give you different scorings, if you like, at different points in your life as well. So that may well be interesting for you to complete. Thank you there for sharing all of your introductions there into chat as well. Thank you very much. Another quote as well, and I love this. And everything that you've just said there about supporting people, if we want to go far, we've got to go together. And it is about bringing people together. It really is. And no more than it is at this moment in time as well. So how we communicate online. I know the vast majority of you are familiar, and it looks like everybody's selected their audio, which is fantastic, because I've spoken to everybody that's come into the call. It looks like everybody's also opened the chat, which is brilliant. So when we're in share mode, like I've said, still wiggle your mouse, and the tools will stay along that bottom corner. But if we get a little bit stuck with everything, don't worry, I will kind of gather you through as we go through the course as well. There are emoticons as well that we can use. So if you open your participants panel, if you can then just give me things like a little green tick or a little red cross, something like that, just to let me know that you've found them. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Pep. So if you open your participants from that bottom corner, thank you, Elise. Nice thumbs up there. That will be on your participants. Matt has found the reactions, which comes up in your camera as well. Matt's given us a thumbs up, which I like as well. They come up into your camera. That is perfect. Please use these all the way through as we go through the session. That's what they're there for. They're there to get people interacting. I can clear them down, so don't worry about doing things like that. So that's cool. Thank you for that. Also, if the chat panel did disappear from the top, from the bottom, you can also get it from the top, because now we're in share mode, which I will be in probably the vast majority of the day as well. And you can get that. It's a little bit blurry, that image, but it still gives you the idea of the toolbar that's now appeared along the top in view options. You can get certain tools from there as well. And we'll be doing the annotation tools in just a second. Like I've said, send to chat, but you've already done that, which is fabulous. I won't get you to do that again. Okay, what I'd like you to do now is wiggle your toolbar right at the very, very top of your screen. And I'm just leaning forward because I'm going onto my second screen. And you'll have right at the center view options. And what that will do is it will bring down another little drop down. And if you can go to annotate for me, what that will do is it will bring down a little toolbar that looks something very, very similar to what is on the slide here. And I'd like you to just select one of the tools. The text tool will allow you to, I'll have to turn around a sec, to type. Oops. Because we're going to be doing lots and lots of this. There's going to be whiteboards, etc., that you guys can use. You've got stamps, which are little love hearts, and you've got all sorts of different things going on, little pointer tools. You've also got like a spotlight tool and a pointer tool, which will give you your name as well. You can change the colours. That's lovely. Hello from the South Coast, absolutely. Which is a fabulous. Oh, I clicked forward then, I didn't want to do that. Let's go back one. There we go. Lovely. Okay, is everybody okay with those tools? Are you happy that you can use the tools okay? If you are, just give me a green tick. And we're going to be moving into just a very, very quick icebreaker. And then we'll get into the main part of the session. Yeah, everybody okay with that? If not, just give me a red cross and I can just direct you a little bit further in regards to what it is that you need to do. You can still use chat anyway, even if you're a little bit stuck with these types of things. Lovely. Okay, no problem. Okay, so let's just do a quick icebreaker then. I have to clear all of the drawings down before you move on. It's one of the little geeky things in Zoom. I've brought in, this is just to get you using these tools. So use those annotation tools that we've just used a moment ago. The drawing tool is not a bad one for this one. It will give you a line. This is a word search. Find some of the names on that right hand side with your drawing tool. So you'll need those annotation tools again. Select maybe your pen. And then, so I've found one, there we go. And then cross it off on that right-hand side. And these are all linked to the session today. I don't think I've spelt anything wrong. However it appears on the right is how it's going to appear in the box. Fab. We don't have to get them all. I just wanted you guys to just, thank you, Elise. I can see who is also drawing as well, and Mina and Matt, quite a few of you. It kind of follows your names as well, as you can probably see there. There's a little bit of a hint there to what's coming up in the session as well, with some of the things that we are going to be discussing. No problem. Like I said, you don't need to find them all. That's absolutely fine. It was just really more a little bit of fun. So thank you for getting involved there. That is fantastic. I'll just clear those down. Brilliant stuff. So we do have a global spread this morning. I thought it would be very conducive to see where we are. So if you go up and get a little stamp or whatever it is that you want to do and pop on your little stamp as to where you are in the world. It just shows us just how globally spread we can be, but still be together as well. It never ceases to amaze me. Fantastic. We've got all sorts of different things here. Azita's down there over in Australia. Elise is over there in the States. Absolutely superb. Nice blob there in the centre of Australia. Zita, I like it. Brilliant stuff. Okay. Again, just another little bit of fun just to get you kind of using your tools. Okie dokies then, so let's move into, and I do that a few times where I've gone to move the slides on and I've still got my little stamps and it just puts a little stamp on moving the slide forward, which really makes me chuckle. So this is what we're going to be covering this morning in these 90 minutes that we have together. We've just done the introductions, just using, looking at how to use the tools, etc. We're going to go into a breakout room in a moment. I'm going to split you down into 2 teams. Talk about the current challenges that you're facing at the moment. Have a conversation. If you want to, create a whiteboard. It's completely up to you guys, and then come back and then just share with us what it is that you're going through at the moment. What are your current challenges? Also, I've got mentally tough leader there actually, but it's mentally tough individual. What is it that they do? But then also we want to look at the flip side of that about mentally sensitive, and we're going to do that a little bit later on in the course as well. Developing mental toughness, we'll be talking about that. How is it that we can actually develop it? And we've got quite a few people on the call today that actually are very familiar with the 4 C's. So again, please feel free to share your knowledge. Also, what is it that we can influence right now? Because this tends to be what is spiking, shall we say, some of the anxieties that we have at the moment. We get too concerned about what it is that actually we can't control. So we'll be discussing that as well. Also then, strategies to overcome them. We're going to create a word cloud. We're going to do that live today in this session, and then we're going to close the session as well. So, my last question to you before we get into the main content. I'd like to know, what is it that you specifically would like to get out of today's session? I know you've kind of highlighted that a little bit. Oh, Pep's given us a nice little star there. You can use the text tool here if you wish, or still use chat. What is it that you would like to get out of the session today? And Elise, no problem at all. I can see that you've just messaged me there. That's no problem at all. Just carry on using chat, Elise. That's fine. You can either type on here, which is cool, or you can pop that into chat as well, whichever one is easiest for you. Superb. And don't worry if you write over each other, I can soon change that. So Matt's saying there, share the tools and strategies to increase mental toughness. Yeah, brilliant. Which is, I think, if I'm honest, what the vast majority of people actually really want. They just want to be able to have some purpose, something to strive for, something to do, and that will really help them. More knowledge of the 4 C's as well, Martin's saying. Yeah, so me and Martin worked together back in February where we started to build that knowledge as well. And I know you guys are working further with that. Every single time I do some work on the 4 C's, I learn something new, which is superb. Learn more about mental toughness in general. Pep saying excellent. And Matt is also saying there, oh, and the tools and the strategies. So you've just duplicated it. That's cool. Azita's saying there, I like to learn more about mental toughness training. Yeah, perfect. Because certainly, I know you're in touch with Doug anyway, but I'm sure that there's lots of different types of things that we can actually do with this. Certainly at the moment, Elise is saying there, I want to be able to help my fellow trainers and family through a difficult time. Most of the trainers are worried about their jobs. Yeah. So again, that really creates that anxiety, doesn't it? Brilliant. That's a lovely one. Thank you, Elise. And Mina's saying there, understanding the mental toughness model on how to help people. Yeah, we'll be talking through that as well. So brilliant stuff. Thank you for sharing all of your thoughts there. Okay, just some very simple ground rules. I'm just going to very quickly flick through these. If you can, shut things down like your emails, etc. Oh, Carol, miss yours. You must have just clicked it again there. Carol, refresh and update the 4 C's and use an MTQ+. Brilliant. Thank you, Carol. Absolutely. That is superb. Yeah, if you can just shut down things like your email, etc., all of that type of thing, and try and concentrate as much as you possibly can on the session, that would be superb. I will come to you. I will be opening up your mics as well, so prepare to be called upon I will keep you busy, shall we say. Okay, so let's get into the main part of the session then, challenges. And this is where I'm going to break you down into 2 teams. So I'll come out of the share menu in just a second. And I will break you up into 2 separate teams and literally go into 2 separate areas away from the main class. You'll unmute your microphones. You can have a conversation with other human beings, which I think, quite frankly, at the moment, are we doing enough of? Maybe we're doing too much of it in this arena. I'm not so sure, but of course you guys can talk through this when you're in your breakout rooms in just a moment. I'm just going to leave you in there just for about 5 minutes, just to have a conversation with other people about what it is that they are really struggling with at the moment. I've just created those rooms, and the way it's split everybody down is in breakout room number 1, Azita, Carol and Mina are going to be going in breakout room number 1. And in breakout room number 2, we have Elise, Martin, Matt and Pep. And again, just share. If you want to open up a whiteboard, brilliant. I'll probably pop into that breakout room anyway, just to see how you're getting on. If not, just have a conversation and then just nominate a spokesperson that when you come back into the main room, you can just give us a brief synopsis, shall we say, of what it is that you were discussing. So who's been in a breakout room before in Zoom? Just give us a, yeah, Martin's raised his hand. I'm loving the way that you raise your hands on here. Yeah, brilliant stuff. So you kind of know what to expect as well. You get a little prompt, or you may get a little prompt just to literally, you know, take your audio in there as well. Azita's raising a hand, and so is Mina as well, which is absolutely superb. Oh, and Elise is saying no, so this is going to be brand new for you, Elise. Now, fingers crossed, you should be okay. You should be able to carry on communicating and unmute your microphones when you get in there as well, because Elise is on her iPad, which is absolutely fine. Okay, is everybody ready to go in to the breakout rooms? Yeah, everybody okay with that? Fantastic. I'm going to open all of the rooms then. There'll be a little raised hand thing in there anyway. If you do need any help, I'll pop in just to check you're okay. Nominate a spokesperson, and then, of course, give us that synopsis when you come out. Okay, I'll leave you in there for about 5 minutes. See you in a moment. Fantastic. I can see everybody popping back in now, which is absolutely superb, brilliant stuff. Okay, so how did you get on? I actually put ZZ Sam in my second screen in one of the rooms so I could see you nattering away with each other, which was absolutely fantastic. So in breakout room number 1, we had Azita, Carol and Mina. Who is going to be your spokesperson in regards to the challenges that you're facing at the moment that you would like to debrief with the group? Who's going to be your spokesperson? You can raise your hand, or oh, that's going to be Azita. Wonderful. There we go. You've already unmuted yourself as well. Saves me a job. Thank you very much.
That's okay. It was lovely talking to the ladies in the other room. We all talk about, of course, the personal challenges and the concern we have about the society and people that are close to us, including family and majority of the the population and people we work with. And Amina was talking about her concern about how people around her can see the anxious and they have lots of fear and panicking, and her main concern was how can she come up with resources that she can help people to cope with the situation.
Yeah.
As well as when I digged a little bit more in, I said, okay, in any personal challenge, then she talked about the space and how we are in the same house and two people can be in a call or webinar, and it's find it very difficult to be able to share that little space using media such as webinar or call. And myself, my concern, the same as Mina. One is to how to help other people, and how with my little capability, I'm trying to counterbalance between negative and positive. If someone posts something negative, I post something positive. It's not all about healing each other over the toilet paper. Then I post something that shows the community cupboard with lots of food and toilet paper and everything in it, then whoever wants to go pick it up, they can go pick it up. So there's good and there's bad, but you have to choose which one you're going to focus on more. And my personal challenge is that I worked really hard to be where I am.
Yeah.
And just recently in January, I came back from my Europe tour because I'm a global speaker. I'm an empowerment speaker, particular women empowerment, and all of a sudden everything just fall apart. All my speaking was cancelled. And Carol was agree with me that it's we all kind of social people and we want to be out and about and get close to people, but now this is almost impossible. And we don't even know how long this is going to take. And what else Carol was mentioning was inconsiderate people around the world. It's kind of making her feel a bit challenged to see how some people not considering, and they want to be the rebel and they want to break the rules.
That's a real tough one, because that really bumps into your own personal values, and that can create a lot of anxiety as well, which again I think I'm finding quite a lot of people are kind of saying at the moment as well, which I think is a really lovely point actually, because we sometimes kind of don't recognize or realize why that happens, but actually those things that we hold very dear to us, like we're considerate, so we don't understand why others wouldn't be. That's our personal value, and that can be really can be one of the triggers for that anxiety piece as well. Yeah, so brilliant. Thank you so much. And I completely agree. Yes, the world has, for now, turned on its head. Let's hope it's not for too much longer. But thank you. Beautifully debriefed as well, Azita. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so in our second breakout room, we had the lovely Elise, Martin, Matt, and Pep. Who is going to debrief your particular breakout room?
Okay, I don't mind.
Thank you, Matt.
So thank you. So challenges, we all had sort of one major challenge around not being able to travel. So particularly for Elise, so going out or not being able to go out to 911 call centers, train people face to face, and particularly, yes, you can transition to online training, but you don't necessarily get the same sort of feedback from the body language. You don't have the eye contact. So it's difficult to assess, okay, you're providing the training, but is it really being absorbed effectively, and so on. So it's questions around the effectiveness of delivering virtual training.
Okay.
And through not being able to see people and interact with them, understand their body language and so on. For a number of us, training type activities have either stopped or been postponed. Recruitment is drying up.
Yeah.
However, coaching is continuing. And I think for a lot of people, coaching online works well enough. So initially a bit of friction, but once it's online, no problems there. And a lot of people do it already in any case.
They do.
Recognition that there's going to be a lot of demand for mental health training and support. So there's a potential opportunity there.
Yep.
And PAP, tech entrepreneur, working in sort of psychological well-being area. So again, opportunities for PEP in that respect. And I think, for all of us, open question as to how to reposition ourselves to take advantage of this new environment, which could last for quite some time. It's certainly not going to be the case that in the next 3 to 6 months, things are back to normal.
No. I think that's what's probably concerning the vast majority of people. How long is it going to go on for? Because we're now in the unknown. People tend not to like being in the unknown either. That can create a lot of anxiety as well. But yeah, I think travel's a big one as well. I really do. And it's quite interesting how Elise is sort of saying about the online training, how effective can it be? Now, I know how effective it can be. I've been in this environment for 9 years, so I'm quite used to it. But a lot of people that are brand new and coming into it now don't understand some of the principles that actually sits around how to train online. And that's why those of us that can, it's gone through the roof for us, because we're trying to support businesses and show them actually it can be very effective. So that's a very interesting one as well. But that how to reposition, yeah. Anything else, Matt? Because that was brilliant.
Just one final comment. Actually, what you just mentioned on how to use the technology and so on. I think what you just did earlier on in terms of guiding us through how to use the annotation bar and so on, something I've not used previously, despite having used Zoom many times. So that was quite a useful sort of practical induction as we're going along. Yeah,
I think it's providing people with the reassurance. Actually, we're all remote and we're all over the world in this particular session, let's face it. But actually, we're all together. We're all in one room. And these platforms, for want of a better word, have provided lots of interactions that, if I'm honest, a lot of people tend not to use. They might use the chat if you're lucky. They'll use the cameras, and that's as far as people go with them. So what I also wanted to do today is showcase also what the platform can do. So this is kind of almost a two-pronged approach. So I'm going to showcase the capability of the platform. You've just been in breakout rooms. We've been using all of the tools virtually this morning. I'm just going to bring in another one in a moment. And I think once people realize actually that this can be a very effective form of learning and training, people will buy into it far more as well. So for me, it's given me a great opportunity to showcase the the capability as well, which is fantastic. So thank you for mentioning that, Matt. I appreciate that. Lovely, thank you. Okay, so yes, we're all facing challenges. We know that. There's going to be a lot of people, I think, at the moment that really feel, certainly working from home, how do I keep myself, and if I've got a team, how do I keep them motivated as well? Because I've got a lot of leaders coming to me saying, I've really no idea what it is that I'm meant to be doing here. I think we've got somebody joining. Possibly they have the wrong time, but nonetheless, we will let them in. I have just admitted them. Hi, Gaj. Gaj, is it? I'm not quite sure how to pronounce your name. Fingers crossed. There we go. They've just joined their audio. Good morning, Gaj.
Morning, how are you?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Good, Samantha. I'm so late, aren't I, into this?
Yeah, but that's okay. The session is recorded, so the bit that you've missed, you can actually catch up on. We were just doing a breakout room about challenges.
Great. I'm going to be quiet. I'm just going to observe, if that's okay.
That's absolutely fine. Gaj, where are you calling from?
From Sydney in Australia.
Oh, you're from Sydney as well. Got another fellow Australian on the call, which is wonderful. What's your relationship
Excellent.
with mental toughness then?
So we do a lot of work around mental toughness in the work that we do here, and so that's been really, we found it to be so powerful with not only ourselves but our clients and our own family and friends and so forth.
Yeah.
So absolutely, big advocates.
Brilliant stuff. And are you familiar with AQR and the MTQ Plus report?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Perfect. Lovely. No problem. Gaj, enjoy the session. Please feel free to get involved. Are you familiar with Zoom as well?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much.
No
Thanks,
problem.
Samantha.
No problem. Lovely. Thank you. Lovely to have you with us. Thank you, Gaj. Right. Okay. So challenges. Yeah. If you've got a team, for instance, a remote team, all of a sudden now they're dispersed all over the show. I don't know what they're doing. That can create trust issues, etc. You've got all sorts of things starting to now creep in that maybe wasn't there before with your people. How do I lead my team remotely? That seems to be what an awful lot of people are actually asking me now. Or how can I continue my job remotely? What is it that I can actually do? I'm not technically minded. I was on with a team of 7 yesterday all day. They'd never been into a virtual classroom ever. They were a very large organisation. None of them had a clue what it was to do right at the very beginning. So a little bit like what Matt was saying before, making sure that you go through the tools, for instance, that everybody feels comfortable is really important. How can I take care of not only my well-being, but theirs? And this is something that you guys have all said as well. It seems to be quite important to you to make sure that actually you're not just looking after yourself, you're also looking for others. You've already mentioned it. Pep said before, you've got 3 children at home. You're working from home. The challenges that that can create is incredible. You know, they might wander into the room. They may not realize, for instance, a little bit like that politician. I don't know if anybody saw that clip. It was a while back where his children came crawling into the room. It was hilarious. But it's one of the challenges that you have working from home. You have the distractions that you wouldn't normally have at work, of course, that work-life balance. All of a sudden you find yourself sitting at your computer till 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. Have a break. And this is what we're going to start to have a look at in a little while. What's really important to us to make sure that we are actually getting that work-life balance correct, because there's a lot of multitasking now that we weren't doing previously. And this is Ali's quote, even though we'd kind of already mentioned it when we did in February, when we did our coaching course in February. Don't just survive, thrive. We've got an opportunity now. And, you know, listening to you just a moment ago, Azita, there, talking about how you try to dismiss the negative thoughts that come into your mind and you try to focus on the positive. Do you know, is that not what this is about? We've got an opportunity now to make the best of this situation and to come out of it thriving. And that's exactly what I certainly want to do. So let's move into mentally tough individuals now. I'm going to have a look at the opposite to that in a little while, which is mentally sensitive. But just for now, I just want to kind of concentrate on a mentally tough individual. And this is my question to you. So a mentally tough individual will. So we're going to have a go at doing another form of interaction. Now that should be launching onto your screens. Can you see the poll? Because for some reason, my screen here sometimes doesn't always bring it in. Can you see a poll on your screen? Just give me a green tick. No. Right, okay. For some reason, it does this to me, and I have absolutely no idea why. Right, plan B. It just seems to be this computer. And I have absolutely no idea why it does it. Okay, I'm going to just end that poll just for a second. Shut that down on there. Now can you see it? Yeah. Don't know why it's doing that. It seems to be this computer. Anyway, I've just made Zed Sam co-host and she's done it. Okay, so the question here is, I'm not sure if Elisa will be able to see this actually. I'm hoping that she can. A mentally tough individual will be aware of their own emotions, and this will let you select additional options. Dismiss the impact that they have on others, learn from their mistakes, doubt they can do it, keep themselves motivated, and worry about everything. And this is now a mentally tough individual. So I can see that the vast majority of you have answered there, which is absolutely fantastic. And I will end that polling. And what I can now do as well, I'm just leaning forwards just because so I can share those results. Yes, absolutely. Mentally tough individuals tend to be a little bit more aware of their own emotions. So if they can feel themselves getting angry, for instance, or frustrated or aggravated, they'll keep themselves in check better, and they'll recognize, actually, I can sense a trigger coming on, and I can feel that, and I'm going to do something about it rather than blow my top. Learn from their mistakes. This is one of the big things. And again, when we talk about the 4 C's in just a few moments, things in life are always going to go wrong. Goodness me, look at what's going on at the moment. They learn from things that go wrong rather than, never going to try that again. They'll start to think about, actually, what is it that I can do? One, to prevent that happening again, or what did it teach me in that maybe mistake that you made, for instance? And of course, they'll keep themselves motivated. They'll start to recognize, actually, if I get myself into a spiral of downwardness and feeling down and those negative thoughts that we were mentioning before, actually, that really isn't going to help me. So brilliant stuff. I'm loving the fact that you've selected them. And this is just showing you another option, if you like, of just bear with me. So what I'm going to do, stop sharing those results, end that poll again. There we go. I just want to get back. There we go. So I can relaunch because we've got another poll coming up in a little. Has it come back on the screen? It's putting me around in a loop. Share results. Right, and I'll come back to that in a little while. So that should now have disappeared from your screen. Has that disappeared off your screen? No? It's been a monkey this morning. I do have problems with stop sharing results. Okay, now if I get rid of that, has that now gone? Yes, right, okay. No, just close the box. Close the box. I don't know why it's doing it. It seems to be messing me about polling at the moment. Anyway, okay, so just to consolidate that piece then. Yeah, a mentally tough individual. They'll focus on actually what it is that they can do, and they'll believe that they can do it as well. They'll believe in their own ability. They'll keep their emotions in check, like we were saying just a second ago. They'll make promises and they'll keep them. They won't like letting people down. They're driven to succeed. They'll stay motivated, especially at times like this. They'll keep themselves that pecker up, if you like, that positive thoughts. They'll understand setbacks as well. Actually, they're opportunities, and they'll see the benefit. Actually, it may have made them stronger in the long run. Believe in their ability, like I've said, and actually they can influence others and bring everybody along with them. And again, we're going to talk about this in a little bit more detail. So how do we develop mental toughness then? Because all of that sounds fantastic, but some of it's a little bit, is it easier said than done? Very probably, because otherwise wouldn't everybody be doing it? And this is the whole point of what it is. So what would developing mental toughness improve or promote, do you think? And you can answer this in chat. What would it improve or promote if we developed our mental toughness? Azita's there saying general well-being. Yeah, definitely. It will certainly do that. Performance, resilience and well-being. Matt, yes, you've done this before, Matt. Mina's there saying well-being. Absolutely. Elise is saying they're making others happier and feel safer. Definitely. It brings that kind of, it's that well-being element, isn't it? It's kind of what's going on in here. It makes you feel a little bit more in control of things. So brilliant. And Pep's there saying motivation. Yeah, it does. Of course it does. Marty's saying their leadership, motivation and self-belief. Leadership, I think that comes under the inspiring others as well, but also inspiring ourselves. So I think that's another really, really lovely point. So thank you for sharing all of those points. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Now, mental toughness, actually, the mentally tough actually, if you could start to develop your mental toughness. So the highest spectrum of mental toughness is around about 16% of people would be classed as very mentally tough. They're a little bit higher up on the spectrum, shall we say. But mentally tough individuals tend to increase performance or have a 25% of variation in performance in workplaces of the mentally tough. Goodness me. Can you imagine if you could increase and develop mental toughness in workplaces? What would happen with performance and productivity within those workplaces? It's quite interesting when you look at it from a business perspective. Also that agility as well. And exactly like Azita was saying before, it's that adoption of positive behaviours. They dismiss negative things. It doesn't really serve us well, does it, if we focus on the negative? It doesn't really help us. Also, more aspirational. We want to achieve things. We'll set goals, we'll set targets, we'll strive to achieve them as well. And we'll keep ourselves motivated within that as well. But one of the biggest things at the moment, and this is one of the most pertinent things that I think the vast majority of people are really interested in right now, is that well-being. It's having that state of mind that is balanced and that is more calm and starting to focus on, like we've said, all of those positives. So mental toughness is actually incredibly good all the way around our lives. So what I want to share with you now is the 4 C's. But I've got a question for you, and I'm going to bring in another poll. We'll try and bring in another poll. What are the 4 C's? So you should now, I'm just launching that poll. It should appear. Has that appeared on your screen? No? Oh, hang on a minute. Let me end that one. I don't know why it does this to me. Let me see if I can do it from here. Relaunch the poll. Stop sharing those results. That was the first one. End polling. Let me try it on this computer now. Has that brought it in? Yay! So it looks like I have to flick between one or the other. Okay, so what are the 4 C's? And you can select either control, commitment, concern, or calm. Commitment, change, challenge, and confidence. Control, commitment, challenge, and confidence. Or complex, check, confidence, and commitment. Which one do you reckon the 4 C's are? And this is what makes up mental toughness. And I'm going to talk through this in just a moment, those psychometric reports that you guys are going to receive once you have completed them. This is what it makes up. So select your answers. I haven't ended that poll. We've only got 2 people who have responded. Couple more. Lovely. And just select your answer. Perfect. Okay. I'm going to close that poll in just a second, and then I'll share those results. Okie dokies. Only a couple of you have answered. That's fine. If you're not sure, that's absolutely cool, because we're going to talk through in just a moment. I've ended that poll, and I'm going to share those results, and that should come through into your screen there. Can you see those results? Should be able to now. No? Oh, I give up with polling. It doesn't like me polling. I'll try and do it on my second screen. Share results. Can you see it now? No? I've given up with polling. I need a crash course on polling on Zoom. Anyway, the top one, that couple of you answered control, commitment, challenge, and confidence. And somebody also added control, commitment, concern, and calm as well, which is their version of the 4 C's. Okay. We're going to have a look at the proper 4 C's now. So I'm going to just close those polls down, stop sharing those results, and then just close that little window down on your screen, and that will disappear. Not entirely sure why it's misbehaving, polling on my computer, but clearly it is. Okay, so what are the 4 C's? Well, this is what they are. It's broken down actually into 8 elements, but the 4 C's are the main umbrella that covers each of these. And we're just going to speak through them just briefly. And please, if you're familiar with these, feel free to add anything in as well. This is where we've got that real richness of knowledge on the call this morning or this afternoon, wherever it is that you are, or this evening. So please feel free to chip your thoughts in. So the 4 C's: control, commitment, challenge, and confidence. And under those 4 subheadings, we're going to have a look at those currently. So give me a green tick if you're familiar with these, or a red cross if you aren't. If you have never seen these before, just give me a red cross. So Elise is saying no. Mina, I think, yeah, he's saying no. Lovely. Thank you for re-putting that back on. Carol is saying no. Azita obviously does. Absolutely. Martin will know a little bit, and Matt will know a little bit as well, which is perfect. And again, this is us just having that first touch and a very, very first glimpse, shall we say, at the 4 C's. So let's start to bring them in then into the screen and start to talk around them in a little bit more detail as well. So the very first 4C is control. And this is broken down into 2 areas, around life control and around emotional control. So if you start to think about the answers that we were saying earlier, and some of the challenges, etc., that we're facing, I've had people come to me just recently and say, I've known this individual a long, long time, but I'm seeing behaviours I have never witnessed before with this particular person. And that shocked me. When well, it didn't shock me, but it kind of surprised me of that individual saying, because it was in a professional environment. And it really sort of surprised me that actually that is happening right now. And maybe, is it because of something to do with this, that their emotional control isn't quite as stringent as potentially it could be? So the 4 C's here, the life control. This is all about, you know, you actually really believe you can do it. You can believe actually you can make a real difference as well. Tend to be very happily sort of multitasking, etc. Kind of just get on with things, quite organised, etc. They work hard. Everything's possible. They see the positive in everything. Might not understand how to do it. A little bit like the polling, clearly. But guess what? I'm going to master it. So if I don't know how to do something, I'm going to learn. And things are going to be in my control. The emotional control aspect, though, I can manage my emotions, and guess what? I can influence others as well. I can manage how I'm going to respond to a situation. If I notice that maybe I've got a bit of a trigger happening, or something going on with me that maybe I don't particularly like about myself when I'm in a certain situation, I'm going to consider how it is that I'm going to respond to that. Like I've said, you can tend to influence others, maybe coach them through, ask them, talk to them, find out what it is that's going on for them, and influence their behaviour to some degree. We can't control their behaviour, we can certainly influence it. Tend to be quite difficult to provoke and annoy because they're in check with their own emotions. Somebody that's mentally pretty tough tends to be pretty in check with their own emotions. Tend to deal quite well with difficult people because they don't get a rise out of them, but they can sometimes mask that anxiety. Even if they are feeling a little bit under strain, they will mask it, and that can be the downside of the mentally tough. Sometimes they've kind of always got to have that stoic kind of stance, if you like. For those that know the MTQ Plus well, what would you add here in regards to control? What would you say? Just unmute your mic.
Sam, I recently did an interview on TV, and I talk about mental toughness and how it related to my own personal life. And I believe so many people stay in a bad relationship or a bad job and a bad friendship just because they are so resilient and they want to control that. You know, I'm just gonna stay there. I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna make it work. And myself, I stayed in a very, very bad relationship just because I'm very extremely resilient. Yeah. Now I am aware of it, and I know that there are other options instead of, like, it was helping me to cope for too long, but it wasn't doing any good for me. Yeah. So just being resilient, it can be actually keeping you in trouble more than what you deserve to be, or more than what you should be. So
that's a brilliant point. It really is. I suppose there's a two-edged sword here, isn't there? The more mentally sensitive, they would stay through fear. Whereas I think a more mentally tough individual would stay a little bit like what you've just said here. This isn't going to beat me. I'm going to work this out. I'm going to stay. I'm loyal. All of those types of things. Myself, I've been in a very similar situation, possibly that sounds to you, in a very bad relationship with a narcissistic type individual. That resilience and I'm going to sort this and we'll get through this actually is incredibly detrimental where you need to get out of a situation where, in other words, you may have stayed previously. So I think that's a lovely point. I really do. Thank you for sharing that, Azita. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's move to commitment as well. This is the next 4C that we're going to focus on. Two elements under commitment here. That achievement orientated, where you love to thrive, you love to achieve things, which is, you know, fantastic. And that goal orientation. Now, at the moment, our worlds have been turned upside down. So I'm tending to sort of set myself goals and targets per day, even if it's just hoover the living room, clear out the garage, do the bed, deliver 3 sessions, whatever it might be, it doesn't matter. I set myself goals. So by the end of the day, it's like, right, I've achieved all that. It's all that. It's tick, tick, tick. Well, that's hard to keep yourself motivated doing that every day when it's the same every day. So let's just have a look at these in just a little bit more detail then. So this commitment, this achievement orientation, I should say, sorry. I'll do whatever it takes. It's that kind of determination I like to sort of see this as. The work hard, you know, they work really hard at things and they'll kind of stick to things as well. They'll set those goals like we've just said, keep promises. That's really important to a mentally tough individual. If they've said they're going to do something, they'll do it, they will do it. Very conscientious, they'll focus, but they will self-sacrifice to get there. And a little bit like Azita's just said, this can actually be quite detrimental because you're that determined. But again, take that pause sometimes. Actually, what is it that I'm doing? Is it working well? Is this beneficial to not only me, but everybody else around me? And that's around that achievement orientation as well. The goal orientated, for certainly mentally tough, when we start to speak about it this like this, love working to sort goals and targets. Targets actually motivate them. They like to achieve them. They like to have set things to do. And a lot of the time they will overachieve as well. Set personal bests, etc., and they'll really want to better them. So things like sort of athletes, that type of thing, you know, sort of at park run, you'll sort of see people, you know, oh, I beat my personal best today by, sorry, just some very large geese flying over the house. Yeah, sort of, you know, I've set my personal best and I beat it by 5 seconds today. You know, even such a small gain would be superb. But they like being tested as well. So for those of you that are aware of this sort of MTQ plus again, what would you like to add for commitment? Just open your mic.
No, I'm just building on something you mentioned. So it's around, they like plans, they like to achieve. So, you know, setting sort of micro goals. So take a big challenge, break it up into, you know, chunk it up into smaller, more manageable, achievable tasks, and yeah, have incremental progress towards the goal.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. And they'll start to recognize, actually, I'm not achieving that part. Okay, so how can I maybe chunk that down or make that a little bit smaller and just make it a little bit more achievable rather than getting demotivated? I haven't achieved that. Which element of it I can? So yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, thank you, Matt. Okay, so let's move on to the next C, and this is challenge. So under the two elements that we have here of challenge, we have risk orientation and learning orientation. And I think this is where it starts to kick in massively with everything that's kind of going on with us right now. In fairness, every single one of these does, but I think there's certainly some that resonate more with others, shall we say. So let's just have a look at this risk orientation in a little bit more detail. They'll stretch themselves. They'll maybe take that extra step. They'll take that kind of, oh, it's a little bit risky, but guess what? I'm going to give it a go. not afraid to try new things. So in this type of arena now, where people are having to do things that maybe they've never done previously, something that's pretty mentally tough, yeah, let's crack on. What is it that we can do? And we'll kind of try and figure it out from there. I tend to embrace change as well. Readily volunteer for new activities, etc. Seek out challenging opportunities, but they will probably opt for more difficult situations rather than go for the easy option as well. But of course, there's a downside to that, because if they take too many risks, that can also be detrimental. So again, it's kind of keeping that in check a little bit more. And I suppose when we start to think about all of the mental toughness piece, for those of you that will be very familiar with metacognition, how you think, why you think that way, and you'll challenge yourself, those thinking patterns that we have, you can start to challenge yourself with that metacognition. Why am I thinking that? Why am I responding in that way? And metacognition links massively within these 4 C's as well. We've got that learning orientation. Setbacks, like we've just said before, they'll see them as opportunities. Actually, that didn't quite go right. What have I learned from that? What am I not going to do again? Or actually, if I replicated it, what's just that little tiny bit I need to tweak, for instance? Again, these guys will enjoy learning new things. They'll be very reflective, very optimistic, and they'll probably try anything once as well. If it doesn't go right, guess what? We're going to try it in a slightly different way. Anything further to add on challenge for those of you that are in the know? Again, just open up your mic.
Again, it's very important to be aware of where an individual is sitting on the spectrum of the challenge, mental toughness. Yeah. I'm one of those people that if you whisper in my ears that this is a challenge, then that's it, I'm going for it. So that made me to do a lot of things, which I'm not regret at all. I'm happy that I did it. But if it wasn't because of the challenge of it, perhaps I wouldn't do it. Yeah. To be aware of it, my challenge is 10 out of 10. So it made so much changes in my life in way of doing that it's obviously it's so much easier. I'm not running as fast as I used to do because it was a challenge. Now I know that I take my time and reflect on things instead of just looking at it to go get it, kind of, because it was named challenge.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. Brilliant stuff. And again, that's another lovely point, because I think sometimes we can over-challenge ourselves and that then can create anxiety and stress. And we've done that to ourselves and probably not realised to the degree that we've done it. So yeah, that's another lovely point. Thank you, Azita. Okay, confidence. And again, they all start to link in with each other. I just find the whole concept fascinating, if I'm being perfectly honest. I really do. So under confidence, we have confidence in abilities and interpersonal confidence. So let's have a look at the interpersonal confidence first of all. They'll feel that actually it can influence others as much as they do me. So I'm quite happy and feel confident enough to actually try and inspire others too. The last questions will check understanding, won't allow others to kind of dominate us. For instance, we'll be pretty happy in our own skin, provide full responses to questions as well and show their abilities, but we will argue our corner as well. For somebody that's pretty mentally tough, we won't be dominated in that sense. But also, I think confidence in our own abilities, this is very much around, I believe I can do it. If I don't know how to do it, I'll find out. I'll learn how to do it. I think it was Richard Branson, wasn't it, that says if somebody asks you something and you don't know how to do it, say yes and then learn. And to me, that kind of sums up the mentally tough when it comes to confidence in abilities. Is there anything that anybody has anything to add that is familiar with the 4 C's in regards to confidence?
Just a general comment from coaching. I find self-confidence is almost always an issue in some form when coaching people.
Yeah, I agree. And a lot of the time, it's quite interesting when you peel the onion as to where that self-confidence or lack of self-confidence actually comes from. And I think coaching is an incredibly powerful tool because they're self-reflecting, they're self-recognizing what it is that's going on for them. You're just asking the questions. But yeah, I completely agree with you. Brilliant stuff. Thank you. And thank you for those that added in with these as well. When you receive the report, you'll also get, and the report kind of explains how to sort of read it, etc. So please don't be overwhelmed by this slide on this particular one here, because it will give you an overall mental toughness score. The average is kind of, I think it's 70, no, it's 32, so that would be 68% on average. The vast majority of people sort of sit between 4, 5 and 6. You've got around about 16% of people that would be 1, 2s and 3s. They would be classed as more mentally sensitive. And you've got around about 16% of people that would be the sort of 7, 8s, 9s, 10s, etc., where they would be classed as more mentally tough. So it's quite interesting when you can't start to have a look at these, and this is a great coaching tool, because what does the report highlight to you? Maybe your emotional control, you could potentially be quite low scoring on there, but your life control is quite high. And the report will explain and go into detail and give you some ideas and options to kind of almost coach yourself around as well. It will provide you 3 reports once you have finished these. So if you've got any questions on the reports, don't hesitate to come back to me afterwards, and then we can obviously go into conversations in regards to those reports as well. Or of course, you can always get in touch with AQR, which are a fantastic organisation in sort of helping you understand things. But once you've seen the report, you'll start to have a much better idea, and you'll start to recognise yourself once you start to read that report as well. Okay, was there any questions around the 4 C's initially? If there is, just raise your hand, open your mic. If not, just give me a red cross. No, mean saying.
Where are the red crosses, Samantha?
Red crosses, so on your participant panel, where your names are. So if you wiggle your mouse, you'll see the participants panel on the very bottom. And when you click that, it will open a little panel with all your names, and the red crosses and the ticks are at the bottom. There we go. Look at that, found it. Perfect.
Gotcha, thanks.
No problem. Okay, so let's have a look then at the mentally sensitive, because I think a lot of people think that mental toughness, the opposite to that, is actually mental weakness, and it isn't. It's just more mentally sensitive. But guess what? They've got some great attributes as well. So what I'd like you to do here is, I want to know what are the strengths, but also what are the weaknesses, or the downsides, shall we say. I don't like that word. I'm going to change that word, weaknesses. What are the downsides to being mentally sensitive? And this is a whiteboard, so you can go back up to the top, get your annotation tools, and you've got 2 sides of this whiteboard that you can use here. So back up to the very top, there we go. I can see Matt typing. So what do you think are the strengths and weaknesses of the mentally sensitive? Open up your annotation tools. If you don't want to do that, so maybe Elise, if you want to type that into chat, that would be absolutely fantastic. And use those annotation tools to pop in. So Martin's saying there, the strength can be more attuned with other people. Most definitely. Very astute when it comes to sort of recognizing and reading others' emotions. Brilliant. Yeah. Feeling overwhelmed. And I think, whoops, I didn't mean to click on there. 1 second. Let me just go back. I always forget that if you click forwards on there, it just literally takes you forward. Yeah, so feeling overwhelmed, Matt, is a big one. So right now, the more mentally sensitive amongst us could really be feeling it. Azita's there saying the weakness as well, stressed, anxiety, depression, they get into that spiral, don't they? Oh my God, no, woe is me, everything's a catastrophe, everything's going wrong. Well, actually, no, it isn't, but that's how they'll perceive that particular situation. So that's another lovely one. Pep saying there, more for the strengths, more self compassion towards themselves and others. Yeah, brilliant. Compassion is a real big one for the mentally sensitive. Great to have in teams, great team players. Just let me just move that down just a little tiny bit, Azita. So the strength, take their time to do things. Yeah, they do a little bit more thoughtful. Not a bullet a gate so much. Elise is there. Oh, Elise has typed. Woohoo! Well done, Elise. Take their time to do things. Absolutely. They certainly do. Martin's there saying, can sometimes live in a victim world. Yes, they can. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the book, The Games That People Play, which is by, Eric Byrne. I have to think of his name then. And for that, he explains about the concept of parent, adult, child ego states and how we communicate. But off the back of that book, the drama triangle was written, and that kind of explains things like people that live in victim mode. There's 3 modes of the drama triangle. There's persecutor, there's rescuer, and there's victim. And the mentally sensitive tend to be a little bit more, or have a more of a propensity to stay in that victim type state. Absolutely. Matt saying that excessively berate themselves. Yeah, boy, don't they do just that. They are really tough on themselves. That's another lovely one. I think I've got everybody's there. Unless I haven't read anything out, I can't see anything else on that slide. I know Mina's popped into chat there. Recognise others' emotions and empathising, but sometimes too much. Yeah, they take on too much. They kind of take on that empathy. They take it into themselves rather than actually just recognising it from their perspective. But they tend to take it on into themselves as well. So yeah, that's brilliant. Got some great stuff there. I got another one here. Azita's saying, feel the bullying at work. Yeah, they can do. Absolutely, and that can be quite emotionally draining for them as well. So brilliant stuff. Got some great stuff down on there, so thank you for that. Superb. Okay, I'll just clear those down. There we go. Lovely, and I'll just move forwards onto that slide. Lovely. So some of the strengths. Great, like you've just been saying there, great at sensing the mood and the atmosphere around them. They're brilliant at it. They've got that real 6th sense. They can really recognise the emotions in others. They're sensitive as well to overload before most people. So they'll say yes to everything, but can't cope. They've taken on far too much, for instance. They can be creative, very artistic, very in tune. That tends to be a lovely, lovely side to the more mentally sensitive amongst us. And they can bring a different caring approach. Right now, boy, isn't that really useful as well. So you'll tend to see this. There's got another little chat here. Things happen to them. I think somebody just popped down on there as well on that whiteboard. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They certainly do. Just a pity that didn't come in just a second ago. But yeah, thank you for that. So that's the strengths, shall we say. So let's just have a look at the kind of opposite to this, the weaknesses, or the more downside, if you like, to being a little bit more mentally sensitive. Sometimes they just don't feel in control. And that can be really a real anxious time for them, especially now. They feel pressure when working towards goals. They tend not to be very goal orientated, and they feel a lot of pressure around that. So if they're in a sales team, for instance, they're going to really struggle. They prefer to do what they've always done. They like habit. We're creatures of habit anyway, human beings. However, they too tend to like that routine a little bit more, and they often lack confidence in their own abilities, which start to think about the report and what that's going to highlight when we start to talk through these. This is where you'll start to see those scoring results come through on that report that you guys are obviously going to receive. So thank you again for popping all of those points down on there. So mental toughness then, how can we develop it? Let's get this into chat this time. What is it that we can actually do? Or if you want, open up your mic. Let's get people talking. This is half of what we need to do, isn't it? Feel free to do either. Feel free as well, if you haven't popped your camera on, to pop your camera on. If you're comfortable. If you've washed your hair, of course. Not that anybody cares. How can we actually develop it? What is it that we can do? Brilliant stuff. I can see a few bits coming through now, which is superb. Okay, we've got Azita saying there, fake it until you make it. Absolutely. There's a YouTube video actually that's just made me think about that from Amy Cuddy. Have you seen that, Azita? No? She mentions fake it until you make it in regards to body language. And she's saying about power posing. And she's saying to do this before you have to go in and do something that maybe makes you a little bit scared, a little bit nervous. And she talks about power posing, and it's from a lady called Amy Cuddy. It's about a 21-minute TED talk, and she talks about that power posing. And it's a great watch, actually. She gets quite emotional in it. It's a fabulous TED talk. So if you get a chance, go and have a look at that. But yeah, and she talks about faking it before you make it, because you're doing these power stances, if you like, before you actually go off and do something. That's great. Go through the pandemic. Yeah, definitely. we definitely need a little bit of that. Elise is there saying, be confident and willing to take a chance. Oh, I love that. Azita's saying that, make yourself uncomfortable in a controlled environment. Yeah, one of the sort of things I say in coaching courses, get comfortable being uncomfortable, because sometimes it isn't a bad thing. And that can actually really quite help us, to be honest. Matt's saying there that positive self-talk. I love that. Mina's also saying there, raise our own self-awareness. Once we were where we can then develop areas that could help us. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Mina. Elise is saying there, I lived by that one. Yeah, definitely. I think that's to that video. Mina's there saying that we can then also help others. I think that's others there as well. Yeah, brilliant. We certainly can. Matt saying control anxiety through breathing techniques. We're going to come to the breathing techniques in just a moment, or techniques or strategies. Thank you, Mina, for clarifying that. Amy Cuddy talk is fab. It certainly is. It's like I say, it's only about 21 minutes. And it's superb. Great TED talk. Cold shower, as it's saying. Yeah, you don't do one of those very often in the UK. It's that cold all the time anyway. And Marty's there saying, take notice of how you're feeling and acting. Take some time to review your day. Yeah, brilliant stuff. It certainly is. And I love all of those points there as well. So my PowerPoint has just decided. There we go. Okie dokies. So developing mental toughness. We're going to talk through a few more of these in just a second. That evidence-based development in mental toughness can actually help you when you receive that report. This can help develop your mental toughness, because guess what? It focuses on the areas of development, which is brilliant. So it gives you a heads up straight away of those areas to target specifically. That positive thinking, Azita was talking about this before, that visualization. What is it actually that I want to achieve? And guess what? I'm going to see myself going over that finish line, if you like. That anxiety control, that attentional control, that almost metacognition. What is it that's going on for me right now? And understanding where that's coming from as well. Increased productivity and job satisfaction. That can be massive, especially now in these changing times where actually our jobs have changed. That self-awareness, massively. I call it ugly mirror. What's going on for you? If there's something that you're doing that maybe you're not exactly happy with, have a look in that ugly mirror. What is it about it that you don't like? Self-awareness is great, but it works both ways. What is it that you really do like, and that actually you can give yourself a bit of a pat on the back for? That stress management, Matt mentioned something just a few moments ago as well, which we're going to come into in just a few moments when we do the strategies, which is brilliant. Coaching, you can coach yourselves, not just others. Question each other, learn more about each other, be curious. I've got a sales background, and they always said the ABC of selling was always be closing No, it isn't. It's always be curious. The more curious you are, the more you're going to find out. I just think that works in every avenue of our lives. Time management as well. It can actually help if we develop our mental toughness. We can be more disciplined. And team effectiveness. We can be a better team player. Like we said before, actually that 25% of variation in performance is massive when it comes to businesses as well. So we get quite a lot, don't we? So we're coming towards the end of the session. I'm just conscious of time. Just got a couple more activities to do. I did say it'd be around about 90 minutes-ish, thereabouts. So how can we think more positively then? What is it that we actually can do? Because we're going to come to strategies in just a moment, but how can we think more positively? Azita started to talk about this earlier. What is it that we can actually do?
I believe like it's very important to expose yourself to positive environment. Yep. Read more positive books or articles instead of delving into all those negative and conspiracies, because those consume your mind, and they can actually quite scary and frightening when you get into them. So yeah. I choose to surround myself with people that are positive.
Yeah.
And I surround myself with positive news, exercise,
yeah.
And naturally developing those hormones in the body that it's responsible for your happiness.
Yeah.
And meditation. Think about if you're not in the place where the beach and the swimming pool or the cocktail is there, you're not there. Human mind is so powerful. We can actually taste that cocktail by thinking about that positive environment instead of negative.
I completely agree with you. I'm loving that cocktail. I'm thinking pina colada right now. That's where you've taken me. Absolutely. But yeah, dopamine. It releases dopamine. It makes us feel good. So the more we concentrate on, oh God, look what's happened today, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of sadness around right now, and we understand that. But the more that we can focus on that positive and not start to get drawn into all of these theories that are kind of being bandied around at the moment, is that not going to help us more to stay positive? I would probably say so, most definitely. So let's look, we've got what, put my teeth back in, what we've got going on in chat. Matt's saying there first, to become aware that you are what you are actually thinking. Absolutely, that's that metacognition piece. Brilliant, Matt. Elise is saying there, look for the gains, not the losses. I love it. Martin's saying there, change your mood and sometimes your environment. Yeah, plant yourself in the soil in which you can thrive. I completely agree with you. Look for the positives and focus on them and learn from the negatives. Brilliant, Martin. Mina's also saying there, limit exposure to negativity, watch less news, regulate how much you watch, find positive news and share them. I could quite agree with you. All sounds super simple, but not everybody's doing that right now, are they? And we can kind of get drawn in to that. But yeah, we want to think more positively. We want to have that great day. Yes, we know not great stuff is happening right now. However, we can't control the vast majority of it. And this is something we're going to speak about in just a moment. Focus on what is going well. Get things in perspective. Actually, sometimes we can blow the tiniest little thing into something massive, and it doesn't need to be. Ask yourself why you're thinking what you're thinking, exactly like what Max just said just a moment ago. Challenge those limiting beliefs. What it is that I'm seeing or doing, is that really true? Have I got that right? Self-awareness. How is my behaviour affecting others? What am I actually in control of? And that's what we're going to do in just a second. And what have I learned from previous experiences? All of these types of questions you can ask yourself. Get yourself in check. Develop that mental toughness that we mentioned earlier as well. And I love this quote. Be the reason that someone smiles today. You can do that yourself when you're out on your walk or doing your run or doing your exercise or on one of these. Be the reason that somebody puts that smile on their face. So let's do this in chat, actually. I won't do this on the whiteboard. What things are we currently in control of? Let's just do this in chat. Because there's a lot right now that we're not. An awful lot that we're not. But what are we in control of? In your lives, in your family's lives, right now. Again, you can open your mic if you wish.
Oh, Samantha, hi. I've opened my mic because it's a lot easier to talk than type.
Absolutely, go for it. I'm more than happy for everybody to open mics. I just like to use the functionality, but go for it.
Well, first of all, thank you, because it's all so interesting, all of this. It's fantastic. So I look forward to filling out my first questionnaire at the end of this. But I hope you don't mind, but I just thought I'd say a little bit about the currently in control of. There's a lot in positive psychology that lends itself to this. There's a lot of overlap. And right now, what the science would say to you is, in this sort of crisis, make sure you do everything that you can to increase your positive emotion or your positive affectivity. So things that give you joy. So gardening, get a puppy. Now's a good time to do something like that. Dance, put the music on loud and dance as much as you can. And we are geared for negative bias. That is natural. So you need to actually really do as many positive emotion things. And there's different ways of saying it, but I think that's really what you're saying. What are you in control of? And there are lots of things that people can do now in crisis, in isolation, to increase their positive affectivity. And I think in time to come, you'll find that there will be papers that will show that those that are able to increase their positive affectivity will ward off illness better and also get through it better. So there's a lot of science coming too. I know they're doing a study with the British Civil Service at the moment, actually, exactly in this field. So it'll be very interesting to see. But it's more than just, you must really concentrate on the positive emotion, because it's actually got a health benefit too. I don't know if that makes any sense.
It makes absolute perfect sense. And one of the last times I was speaking to Doug a few weeks back, actually, there's quite a lot of correlations now with exactly what you've just said about illness. And it can be proved now in the research that actually the more mentally tough tend to respond better when they're ill. They have less illnesses. And if they do get poorly, they tend to recover quicker and better, which is exactly like you've just said there. Your propensity, I suppose, within you, it's almost that kind of inner determination. But I'm loving the fact that you've kind of just said that we're programmed for that negative bias, because yes, we are, and a lot of people don't realize that, and they don't realize how damaging it can actually be when you focus on the negative, when it releases that cortisol throughout your body. What does that do to you? It's not great for you. You want that dopamine. You want to dance. Get the windows open. Get chatting to people over the fence. Whatever it is that you need to do, I don't care. Just get doing those things that you enjoy. Completely agree. I've had so many people coming to me and saying, do you know, I've done something I've never done in the house. I'm doing different things. I've tried decorating. Whatever it is, people are loving these new experiences. And that's what it's all about. So brilliant. Thank you so much for adding there, Pep. That was superb. Let's just come to chat, because I've just got one more activity to do. Where are we? Where have we gone? Because chat went crazy. How we think and behave, our attitude. Right, okay, yeah. Martin said, how we think and behave, our attitude from Matt, my mood. Brilliant, I like that. Mina's there saying there, how I think and what I focus on, my time. Yes, you are in control of that. Brilliant. Elise is there saying how we support each other and let things bother us. Definitely. Exercise my space. If they're going to lock us down completely here in the UK, I'm going to be running around the garden because I don't want to stop exercising. Or at least doing something. Carol's there saying there, focus on things that make you feel good. Limit your exposure to the negatives. Be selective about the news channels and the time you spend on them. Quite agree. Quite a lot of people have said this to me just recently, actually. Stop watching the news. And Martin's there saying there, don't let negativity in your mind or your body. Oh, love that, Martin. Fabulous. So we'll skip that whiteboard because we've just done it. So this links to Covey, for those of you that are familiar with Stephen Covey. Control, influence, and concern. And this is exactly what it is that we were just speaking about here. The control is the very center of this particular model. What am I in control of? What can I physically do? What can I influence? That's where we start to spread out just a little tiny bit, because there may be things that we can't control or influence, So is there a lot of point in being concerned about them? I can't stop the spread of COVID-19 right now, but I can influence my world. I have elements of that world I can control, and that stops the anxiety. If we allow that concern to spread, exactly like Pep was just saying just a moment ago, if we allow that concern to spread in every area of our life, all we're ever going to focus on then is the negative, and we're going to stress ourselves right out. Anxiety will go through the roof. However, we start to think about the things that we actually can influence and what we can control, because guess what? We have a choice on how we look at things. And if we're going to look at things negatively, the chances are we're going to get a negative outcome. But if we start to look at things more positively and more objectively rather than emotionally, guess what? All of a sudden we start to see things just a little bit differently. Stephen Covey explains it beautifully in this particular model here. And I just really think it fits right now. We've just done this, what things can we influence, so we won't need this. So what I do want to have a look at now is the strategies to reduce that anxiety. We've already spoke through a few, but guess what we're going to do? We are going to do this in the form of a word cloud. So I'm going to bring in a brand new screen, and let me just make this full screen. You're going to need your mobile phones here. Oh, let me just make that not full screen because now you can't quite see it. So if you get your mobile phone out or go onto your computer and you pop in to, or if you go on to polev.com and then pop in 123 people dev 000, you will see our little poll here. You can text as well.
Samantha, can you say it again, please, slowly?
Of course I can. So if you go onto a web page, polev.com, and then you type in 123 people dev and the numbers 000, it will then bring you, and I'll do it as well because I should have the page already loaded.
It says passwords not found. So is it 123?
123 as in the numbers, and then people dev 000. Let me just do it as well. I've been on it a few times though, so it probably polev.com, and that will take you to a web page that should look something similar to that. And then you can put in the 123 people dev 000. That's the username. 123 PEOPLE 000, and then join. Oh, it's saying presenter not found, isn't it? Oh no, it isn't, because I wrote it wrong. People dev 000. There we go. There we go, I'm in. So once you put in that username in, what you can do there, I'd like you to pop, or no problem, Pep, you can do it online as well. You can open up a web page. That's Ronnie. Ronnie's just coming in to grab something and get me a cup of tea. What I want you to do here is pop a word, just one word, into the little box once you've opened that window in regards to strategies that we can do to help overcome anxiety. So if I said, I'll type in talk, for instance, you'll see it come live onto the screen. And just keep typing words in, and I'll make it full screen now. There we go. Just keep typing words in. Brilliant. Meditation, that's a massive one. Do you know, we don't do that so much in the West, and we should. Super good for you. Yeah, techniques, got Bible there as well. Yeah, absolutely. If you've got a faith, that's brilliant right now. Meditation's coming bigger. Dog, yeah, take the dog out. We've got cats, so I love spending time with the cats, etc. CBT, yeah, cognitive behavioral therapy, that's brilliant. Remap your mind, I love it. Relax, keep going with these are brilliant. Well-being, Exercise. Journalizing, yeah, or journaling. Absolutely. So in years to come, you can look back at that. That's brilliant. Self-love. I like that. I think we forget about that sometimes, you know. What else have we got? Gosh, we've got all sorts going on here. Exercise, that's another great one. It really is. Keep going. I don't know if you've been able to do this, Pep, because you can open another web page. No, that's okay. Just enjoy all of those words popping through.
I agree with them all. Mindfulness, I was going to put.
Yeah. You can do it on a normal web page as well, but it's super easy on your phone. But yeah, if you've left your phone in the other room, which is superb, by the way, leaving your phone in the other room. Yoga, that's another great one, isn't it? Reading. A lot of people love reading as well. Chatting. Yeah. Who put mask? Who put that one?
I didn't get a one word brief. It was oxygen mask.
Ah, right. Okay. That's okay. Yeah. Well, I think we need that in more ways than one at the moment. But yeah, definitely. I like that. Brilliant stuff. That's great. You got some great words on there. Learn. What can we learn from this? I think that's a real big thing as well. I love it. Fantastic. Thank you for taking part in that. That's absolutely brilliant. I'll go back to those slides now as well. Oh, did it just change again then? Yeah, I think it did, didn't it? Yeah, learn that meditation, relax, talk. Brilliant. Absolutely superb. Thank you very, very much for that. Let's just flick back then today to those main slides. I'll pop a post onto LinkedIn later on, and I'll take a snip of that screen because that was brilliant. Thank you very, very much for sharing there as well. So that was that. That was just the screen. So you've got all of these. Go make yourself a cup of tea. Meditate, you know. I think it's lovely. I used to do yoga an awful lot years ago, and I got quite into it, but sort of time, all the rest of it kind of goes away. And I think I'm really going to start doing that again. The benefits are huge. Eat well as well. Have something nice that you enjoy eating. Eat fresh stuff if you can get hold of it well. Pets. I mean, I've got cats, you know, dogs as well. Brilliant stuff. You know, laugh. I think that's one of the biggest things. Exercise, massive. But of course, don't forget to talk. And don't forget those people that could potentially be just that little bit more mentally sensitive as well, made a little bit more. So what I want to know, this is our last whiteboard. Please feel free to do that as well, either in chat or on that on the whiteboard if you wish to do it there. I can see Pepper's just added as well. Now it's time to get back to yoga, Samantha. Try laughter yoga. It's brilliant. Oh my goodness. That will definitely be on the to-do list. I like the sound of that. Absolutely. So what is your commitment? What are you going to say? Actually, I'm going to do a bit more of this after this session today. This has kind of just reminded me of what it is I need to do and how it is that I need to be. Again, you can pop it into chat if that's easy. You can open your mic, or if you write your commitment down, and if you set yourself an accountability buddy as well, I think it's 76% more likely to continue on with it and achieve what it is that you have set down. Okay, let me just get those annotation tools, and I need that one. Okay, so Martin said, being the reason someone smiles today. Absolutely. What a great purpose to have in life, eh? Elise is saying there, time to relax and not work so much. Definitely, Elise. Most definitely. That's a great one. Pop it into chat if you like, or if you are popping it on that whiteboard, please don't forget to just sort of click somewhere else on the slide and then it will bring it in. What's your commitment going to be? What's it kind of made me think, need to do a bit more of that really. Continues to spread the message of the benefits of developing mental toughness. Brilliant, because boy, isn't it pertinent right now. Have my first webinar on mental toughness. Fantastic. Yes, go for it. Go for it, Azita. And Pep saying there, fill out our first MTQ questionnaire and I will arrange for that to wing its way across to you. Because everybody that's joined this call will, of course, have that opportunity to complete that. And here's Ronnie again with a cup of tea for me. God bless him. I would probably have starved to death if it wasn't for Ronnie in this room, the amount of time I've been on webinars, etc. over these last few weeks. Mina's there saying there, continue to learn Japanese and do more creative work. Oh, wow. Gracious me, that's a great one. And yes, fill in that questionnaire. Brilliant, Mina, as well. Martin's also said there, stop worrying about how my hair looks on Zoom. Need a haircut. Don't we all? I know, yeah. It's getting a little bit crazy now. It really is. Absolutely fantastic. What about you, Carol? What are you going to commit to? I can't, unless you've typed something and I've missed it somewhere. What are you going to commit to? Ah, here it comes. Elise is saying there how he's handling not flying and nails. I know, yeah. He was one lesson away from finishing his commercial license, but he'll sort it as soon as this is done, but never mind. I know. Carol's there saying fill in the questionnaire and share what I've learned today. Absolutely brilliant. Keep an eye out for that post on LinkedIn a little bit later as well. Fantastic stuff. Thank you again for all of those comments on there. That is absolutely fantastic. Okay, so we are coming to the end of the session as well. Oh, Keep Positive just popped up as well. What questions do you have around what it is that we have covered today? Open up your mic, feel free, pop into chat if you've got any questions, because we are just coming to the close of the session now. Run over just a smidge.
Can I ask a question, Samantha?
Of course you can, Pep. Go for it.
What did they do any work with children for this questionnaire, or what age does it start for mental toughness and the work that Doug and his colleagues did?
Oh, do you know, that is a great question. I'm not 100% sure on that. Now, I do know children have been mentioned recently with some of the chats I've been having with Doug. But Matt, I was just about to say, yeah, Martin or Matt or Azita, if you know the answer to that question.
They do have a separate questionnaire for children, and I think it's age 10 and above. And they're doing some amazing work in their studies, etc. So yeah, there's definitely a separate questionnaire for children.
Yeah, which is fantastic, which I think if they could even bring that into the curriculum some way, boy, would that be powerful.
Yeah, I think just one additional point. So I think with the sort of the main questionnaire, the norm group is people of a working age.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember having a conversation sometimes with Sonia one time, and I think it's pitched at 15 plus. I'm sure I've got that in my mind from somewhere. I don't know where that's come from, but that could certainly be something that we could get some clarity on as well. And that could be something that you guys, Pep, that you could go to AQR with, and of course have some further conversations with. They're a fabulous business to work with. They really are.
Is it pitched for use with coaches? Is that where it's pitched?
You get 3 reports. So you'll get an assessor's reports, which is great for recruitment. You get a coaching report, which is great, obviously, for coaching interventions. And you also get a development report, which is for you personally. Great question. Thank you, Pep. Any other questions?
Samantha, it's do you think if I contact the AQR or DOG, would they provide this this opportunity for me so I can provide this test to the people that are joining the webinar?
I'm a partner with AQR, but yes, I have no doubt if you approach AQR, I can obviously let Sonia know and Doug know that you're going to be coming their way, if you like. But you already have a relationship with AQR, don't you?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. So if you speak to them about becoming a partner, which obviously I am, and then I can obviously deliver out their material and of course then offer out the MTQ Plus reports, etc., because I'm a partner with them. And I can very generously take that offer up from them to obviously people like Pep, etc., and Carol, who have never completed a report in the past. That would be a great opportunity. But yes, speak to either Sonia or Doug. That would be superb.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Azita, I know there's a lady in Australia that does a lot with it called Dr. Susie Green at the Positivity Institute.
I do know Susie, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great network at the moment of people, actually. There's quite a lot on LinkedIn about this type of stuff. But after speaking to a few people a couple of weeks ago, I sat down for a couple of hours and just wrote this program, and I just thought this could be really quite beneficial for some individuals, especially for people that have never come across it before, and it can be incredibly beneficial. So So yeah, this is why I was doing what I was doing today.
Thank you. Yes, it was amazing.
Thank you. Brilliant. Mina has just said there, nothing at the moment, might have some after I complete the questionnaire. Absolutely, Mina. I'll pop my details into chat in just a second as well. So I'm not going to run through the agenda, but when you start to have a look actually of what it is that we covered today, we've been through quite a lot, I think it would be fair to say, in just our couple of hours together as well. Let's not do the whiteboard. I just want to know, what has it highlighted for you today? What has it kind of brought into the forefront of your mind that maybe wasn't there before?
For me, it was that I have been studying this for some times now, but I always had this fear of, oh, do I know enough? Should I go into it? And tonight it was more clear for me that, yeah, I do know enough to be able to share my knowledge with other people.
Brilliant. That's fantastic. Thank you, Azita. Anybody else?
Just building on that point, I think it's very important for us now to share the message, to go out, and everyone is affected in some capacity.
Yep.
So I think the message will be very well received.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah. And thank you for this great, very insightful webinar. I mean, if you create some social media posts, we can then like and share it and comment and so on. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Matt. Elise is saying I think I will be more aware. And Mina's saying, great to see how many people think the same and are trying to shift the narrative to something more positive. Absolutely fantastic, Mina. Yeah, definitely. Okay, they are my details. I'll pop those into chat for you as well. Feel free to add me on LinkedIn as well if you haven't already done so. It is my full Sunday name on LinkedIn. Clearly I've been naughty. Samantha Sloan. And of course, you will then see, you can just add me on LinkedIn, and that would be great to connect with everybody as well. Thank you so much, Martin, saying you're most welcome. Carol's there saying, great session. Thank you. Raise my awareness. Looking forward to completing the questionnaire. I'll get those arranged for you today and receiving my report, thinking how I can spread the message further. Absolutely superb. Thank you again, guys. I love this last quote. Fear is a reaction. Courage is a decision. Isn't it just? Okay. Thank you so much. Really, really enjoyed the session. Oh, that's for WebEx, so ignore that one. Really enjoyed the session this afternoon. Thank you for all of your interaction and all of your comments and thoughts, etc. And thank you for sharing your experiences as well. Feel free, if you wish to log out now. I'll just come out of that share mode, actually. Makes it a little bit easier. There we go. Feel free to log out now, and I will hopefully see you very, very soon. But please add me on LinkedIn, and I will arrange those reports for everybody as well. Thank you very much,
Sam.
guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Stay safe, please. Stay well.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Sam.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate
You're
it.
most welcome. You're most welcome, Elise. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Samantha.
You're most welcome.
It's been a great pleasure to meet you.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you very much for joining as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So you will share the slides as well?